Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going? So, I made that video and I told you things not to do with your car when it's cold. You know, start it up, move it from one spot to the other, and then just shut it down. How that's really not good. I'm going to tell you something to do with your car when it's cold out, like it is now. I mean, it's not terribly cold, but it's cold. I'm going to show you something that you want to do with your car that you may get some conflict with some other people about doing it, but I've been doing this my whole life, and I mean, two of my cars have almost 300,000 miles on them now. So I'm going to show you real quick. One thing too, and not every car you can do this with, but one thing too you may want to do when you know you're going to have inclement weather like ice, snow, or whatever, put your wipers up like that. Like that. Trust me, it helps. And try to remember to shut your wipers off when you get to when you park your car for the night, because when you go to start your car in the morning, if you forgot that you left them on and your wipers are now frozen, you're gonna have a problem. So let me just show you real quick. Let me close the door so we don't have to listen to the chime. All right, so let me back this up. I have my heat on high. I have my fan on the lowest setting possible, okay? You want the lowest setting possible. Start it up. Okay. Now, I have defrost set and floor set. You don't want straight up defrost set. The reason for that is you could crack the windshield, amazingly enough. If you have a little star chip in the windshield, and I've seen it before, and you know what? I'll show you a prime example. So now, I don't want to turn front defrost on because that's just air. In the back, I'm going to turn the rear defrost on, and I'm also going to turn my headlights on. The lights on the dash are not flickering. I might show like that in the video, but they're not. The reason for doing that is it puts a little bit of strain on the charging system. That little bit of a strain transfers into the engine itself. So while the engine's warming up, it's adding a little bit of stress to it, just a tad of stress, and it allows it to basically warm up a little bit faster. Basically, you're like, you know, stretching it out. You know, sometimes you got to do stretches in the morning just because, you know, when we get older, you know, we're like an old diesel engine trying to start. You know, it just doesn't want to go right away. So I'm like that in the morning. I'll tell you that right now. The other thing I do. Okay, ready? I roll my window halfway down. Can I tell you how many times I've seen people lock their keys in the car? Yeah. I don't care if I got a push button. I don't care if I have manual locks. I don't care. I am going to roll the window down. Maybe not that far. Maybe just, you know, something like that. Enough to where I can get my hand in and out, just in case. So now, what I was telling you about cracking the windshield, this isn't because I turned the defrost on, but I have seen it happen, and it has happened to me with a customer's car of all things. I started it up, and this is when I first started in this business, and I started it up because we were up in New York, and my boss was like, you know, let's go start these cars up, let's get them warmed up, turn the defroster on and everything else. So he had me turn the defrosters on. I had worked on the car the previous day. It had a nice star chip in the windshield. I started up, turned the defrost on, full blast, everything else, and now the air was blowing on the windshield. As it warmed up, it cracked the windshield. So check this out. On my van, this happened because of frost. I had star chips in the windshield. You can see that, right? Yeah, all the way across. So now I need a windshield. Yeah. Basically, I will turn on, like I said, the headlights. I will turn on the rear defrost. If I had heated seats, I would turn the heated seats on as well. With the van, whenever I drive the van and it's really super cold outside, I will turn the heated seats on way ahead of time. So let me get myself ready so I can go and head to work. And when I get in the car, then I'm going to continue this video and I'm going to explain a few other things. All right, sounds good. Okay, so I had the car running now for about a good 20 minutes. It's warmed up. What you can do is, you know, because I don't need the headlights on, I will actually shut them off, which I just did. And now we're heading to work. It is a little late. The reason I did leave a little late today is because there was a lot of ice on the road. So I wanted to wait until temperature got up above freezing, really, to actually venture out. Because our road here where I live is a absolute disaster. They usually don't plow it. They actually sent one of those graders down the road yesterday. Like you ever see the ones for dirt roads where they have like the blade in the middle? They have the front wheels and then the rear wheels, that long, whatever kind of vehicle it is, for grading dirt roads. Yeah, they had one of those come down the road yesterday to scrape it. Didn't do a fantastic job, that's for sure. But it did something. Just set in the mirror. So the reason I was saying you may see people saying differently from what I'm telling you in terms of warming your car up is I've seen plenty of videos where people say, oh, you don't need to warm your car up. You don't need to warm your car up. It's bad for the environment and this, that, and the other thing. Well, I mean, maybe, yeah, it is a little bit bad for the environment, but you know what? How are you going to drive down the road when you can't see out the windows? You might have frost on the windshield, back window, side windows, mirrors, or even fog, like a fog buildup on the windows. You can't see. So warming it up helps. It helps clear all of that up. Also, who likes to get into a car and be freezing their cojones off? I mean, come on, seriously. I've warmed my cars up as long as I can remember. I go out there, start them up, let them run for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. Even like if it's really, really, really cold, I'll let them run for 30 minutes, There's nothing wrong with doing that. Also, when you first start your cars up, when it's really cold outside, they're going to make some strange noises. I don't care how new or how old the car is. They're not going to like it. They're going to make some strange noises. They're going to like whine and cough and sputter and spit and, different things are going to make different types of noises. The Caravan, it makes a howling noise. When it first started doing it, 8, 9, 10 years ago, whatever it was, I honestly thought it was the front pump going out on the transmission. It almost sounds like a power steering pump low on fluid. At the very first time, that's the first thing I checked was power steering fluid, and then I checked transmission fluid, stuff like that. Everything was fine. I was like, all right, it must be something with the transmission pump, because it kind of sounded like it was towards the middle between the engine and transmission. So I was thinking, transmission pump. It's not what it was. It still does it. You start it up when the temperature has to be exactly right for a period of time during its warm-up, and it'll go, whoo. It'll just make this weird noise. And it'll change with engine RPM. And that's why I thought it was a pump of some sort. It's not. It's actually the PCV system. Not sure why. Couldn't tell you why it does it. I've changed the PCV valve one time because of it, just to see if it would change anything, and it changed nothing. So why it does it, I have no idea. But also, when you warm up your car a little bit, instead of everything being ice cold, like you're not going to go out and if you're going to go to, let's say, the gym, that's a bad word for me. But if you go to, like, say, the gym or whatever, you're going to do some stretches, you're going to do some warm-ups and whatnot before you get started. If like any athletic sport, like if you play softball or baseball or tennis or whatever, if that's something that you do, I guarantee you just don't go out and immediately start doing it. I'm pretty sure you do some kind of warm-ups first. Same thing with your car. The reason being is it helps stretch it out a little bit, especially transmissions too, because the transmission has tons of seals in them. There are seals in everything inside a transmission because it works off of hydraulic pressure. So the seals need to become pliable again. When you start it up and you let it warm up, get some temperature in it, the temperature gets into the transmission and the seals become a little more pliable. If I were to just get in the car and start driving, this one included, and this one only has 90,000 miles now. Actually, the body has probably 160 on it by now, but the engine has 90,000 on it. Engine and transmission. If I were to get into this thing, just start it and go, which I've done, without letting it warm up a little bit when it's cold. When it's hot out, it really doesn't matter. And when I say hot out, If it's over 50 degrees, I usually will not let them warm up. If it's, I'll usually just get him and start it up, put my seatbelt on, adjust the mirror, stuff like that, and then go. When it's a little colder than that, I'll get in it, start it up. I may sit in it for a few minutes. Sometimes I will even rev it up. I will actually sit there, and you don't want to sit there and rev it to the moon. New cars, you're not going to be able to do that anyway because they have rev limiters. Neutral rev limiters too, two different sets. You have a regular rev limiter, so when you're in gear driving down the road, like this one red lines at 6,800 RPM. So this thing will, reach just about red line before it shifts or whatever. And let's say I, for some reason, was stuck in first gear, it wouldn't allow it to rev past like 6,800. But if I'm just sitting there in park or neutral and I go to rev it up, it's probably not going to rev past 3,300 RPM. They do that purposely. So what I'll do is in the morning, if I want it to heat up a little bit faster, after it starts and after it's running for, 60 seconds or so, I will actually bring the RPMs up to say 2,300, 2,400 RPM. It's a very mild RPM, and it'll sit there, and it's fine. You're not going to hurt anything. You're not going to hurt a darn thing. And I know people out there, you'll hear experts say, oh, don't do that. You're going to hurt something. You're going to hurt this, that, the other thing. Nah. Like I said, my truck and my van have almost 300,000 miles on it. My Dodge Neon that I had, my 2002 Dodge Neon that I had, I loved that car. That was such a great car. I was so sad when it was time to give it up. And that car had 320 something thousand miles on it, I think, by the time it was done. And that car, I beat the snot out of that thing. And I'm talking, I would get in it, and especially when it was cold, because I was in a rush to get to work or whatever, and I wanted to warm it up a little bit. So I would start it up, and I would bring that thing up to 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. It would allow me to do that. It didn't have that neutral rev limiter, but I would let that thing sing there. I never had a problem with that car. That car was fantastic. Matter of fact, when I junked it, I took the engine and transmission out of it, and I gave it to my friend Ed, because he has a race Dodge Neon road track. A road course car. So I gave the engine and transmission to him because they usually use pretty stock engines and transmissions. And so I gave it to him so he had a backup. And he still has it as far as I know, the engine and transmission. What happened was the clutch actually started slipping on it finally. It was original clutch too. The clutch started slipping on it finally. And I was going to do the clutch on it. And I was like really looking at it. And it had rot starting on it. And it needed a radiator. Steering rack was leaking, and I was just like, you know what? Unfortunately, it's time to give it up. What am I going to do? I'm going to put a clutch in this thing, and I could swear I smelled coolant in it, like I had a heater core possibly starting to leak, and I was just like, nah, I'm not going to do this. I'm just not. If it didn't have the rod on it, that'd be a different story. Plus, that car was totaled 3 times. 3 times that car was totaled on me, and I bought it back every time it got totaled. One time it got rear-ended. One time it got hit in the front, left corner. And what was the third time? Third time it got rear-ended again. And the frame had actually bent on the first time it got rear-ended. It shoved the right rear tire into the door. That's how hard it got hit in the rear. But I kept it afterwards. Had one of my frame guys fix it. But anyway, that's besides the point. Going off on my little tangents. So, letting your car warm up, absolutely, do it. Let your car warm up. You will make your car last longer. I always hear those stories of, it hurts your car and does this damage and that damage. You know what? That's another thing, too. Yeah, my truck does need cats, but my van, the cat's fine in it. My Neon, the cat was fine in it. And it's just like, I also had 2 other Caravans before that, a 90 and a 95, and those things had a gazillion miles on them too. Never had cat issues. So, and they say, oh, just letting them warm up can ruin the cats, and I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. If your car's running okay, I don't see an issue. I mean, maybe if your car's got misfires and it's not running okay, yeah, I can see there being an issue. But start your car up, let it warm up. To me, it's a very good thing to do. It's what I do personally. So go ahead and do it. That's pretty much it. All right, guys, if you look down in the description, you'll see links to Amazon products that I personally use. If you could give it a click, I'd really appreciate it. The clicks do help me. If you do buy something, even better, I do get a small percentage, and every little bit helps, right? So, all right, guys, I hope you got something out of that. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. Hit the notification button, the bell, whatever it is, so this way you find out when I put out new videos. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.